Hi there, and welcome to another exciting episode of Way the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka Mini Wargaming Kris, aka The Name Butcher, aka Hey You, Get Off My Lawn. I never really have a good one for that third one, but anyway. Way the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything else under the sun. For a lot of you tuning in, the first time, we'll do a lot of painting talk, as well as a lot of what's under the sun. It's a pretty wide open show. We try and learn something, but at the very least, hopefully we have a laugh or two at least, because, you know, why not? I mean, what else are we here for, really, other than to learn and laugh? And so I can see a lot of my regular viewers are joining us today. I can see Lazy Monkey, howdy, Spite You, woot. Lawrence Novak, hey. Lazy Monkey, soon everyone will be flooding in on the magic moustache time. Or is it moustache? Since he's Canadian and there are only moose up there, I've been told. There's only moose? No, there's elk and deer as well. But the moose are gigantic here. They're like their size are like semi-trucks. The moose are like prehistoric mammals. They're huge. They're huge animals. First time you see one, you just can't get over the size of the animal. It's huge. Lawrence Novak, that's funny. It's my first visit. Well, welcome, Lawrence. William Payne, hello everyone. Lazy Monkey, welcome to the monkey train. Lawrence, keep your hands inside at all times and don't feed the animals. Yeah, those are good words of wisdom there. Just gotta watch yourself, because the monkeys fling poo. Lord Law, LOL. I take it we'll be playing the role of the brush monkeys. Yeah. Speaking of brush monkeys, I still have yet to finish that logo. Some of you might remember a while back, I was cooking up a logo for shirts, of course, with, you know, the Way of the Brush monkey. And, you know, I have yet to finish it. To a point where I'm happy with it, I should say. I haven't been entirely happy with it. I don't know if I'm going too stylized, or if I want it more cartoony. I don't know. I'm just having a hard time, you know, getting it done. Kurt Krishon, Morning Monkeys. How is everyone this week? I think everyone is doing pretty darn good. The sun is finally starting to shine around here, so everything is looking a-okay. Lord Law, sounds good. I've been enjoying the old shows, so I thought I'd actually tune in. Well, welcome, Lord Law. Lazy Monkey, there's a bit more sense when you can see the chat and Kris is responding to, but the chat itself can turn into a zoo. Yeah, sometimes you get some folk in here, and, you know, I mean, like, I'm not one above using cuss words, but, you know, sometimes you see somebody's in, you know, relishing in using those kind of words, and, you know, I try and keep the show relatively PG. Relatively. For anybody who's been tuning in this long knows that, you know, I try and keep it PG. I try. All we can do is try. Or as Yoda would say, there is no try. Only do. No, how's it go? I can't remember. I'm sure one of you know. Alucard869, good morning, everyone. Sorry I missed the last two live shows. How's it going, Kris? It's going well. Dr. Zantos, there he is, Dr. Zantos. Make Whiskey, good morning, everyone. Dr. Zantos, it's been a rough few weeks, but I finally made it here. Well, welcome, Doctor. Doctor? Are you a real doctor, Zantos? I don't know if I've asked this question before. I think he is. Or no, it's his favorite sci-fi character or something like that. I can't remember. Oh well. Ghost of Starman Deluxe. I don't think I've read that name before. And if I have, well then I've got a short-term memory. Watching the monkeys in their natural habitat. Garrett Thomas Lord. Hello, Kris. Hello, monkeys. Dr. Xantos. Lazy. I've been known to scare people, but scaring Kris is new even to me. Eric Coyne, there he is. Auric13, hello everyone. Nidfink, there she is. Hello everyone. Clumsy Juggler, hello. Lucian Valencer, I'm sure I'm saying that last name wrong, but David Taylor. Hey Kris and Jokeros. Jokeros. Is everybody Jokeros? Is that what it is? Everybody thinks that they're just monkeys, but really they're super intelligent human beings who can do fantastical things with technology. Sure, I could buy that. Sounds actually pretty good, actually. Sam Potts made it. Hello, everyone. Good day to you, Kris. Good day to you, Sam Potts. David Taylor, learn, laugh, and lube. It's not lube. It's lotion. Otherwise, it gets the hose again. Big Whiskey, whatever. What else are we here for? Getting into the deep stuff early, Kris. No, we're not deep yet. At least I don't think we are. Oh, yeah, here's his name. Ihunara? Ihunara? Beep? Beep. Yeah, just to be different. Beep. Maybe it was R2-D2. Beep, beep. Lord Law. Hey, Kris. First time. Love your channel. Well, thank you, Lord Law. Lord Krabby. Sup, monkeys. Sup, Kris. Sup, Lord Krabby. Dana Shires, hello. George Hopkins, hello, everybody. Bob, hello, Monkey Master and Minions. Saba Cerez, hello. And of course, as soon as I stop on somebody's name, the whole thing just goes flying past me. David Taylor, PG. Kris, the first thing I notice is that you are out of lube. It's lotion. It's not lube. Although I got lotion and baking soda right beside each other. What does that say? I don't know. Crap, now I lost my place. William Payne, do or do not. There is no try. That's what it is. There you go. Do or do not. There is no try. Thank you, William Payne. Starman's got it as well. Okay, here's a name. N163126. That's just rolls right off the tongue. Hey, Kris, you got me into the wet palette, which I've started using recently. Wow. It has stepped up my painting to the next level. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for, letting me know that it has helped you. And yeah, wet palettes. I mean, I'm sure that even there's some of these longtime viewers of mine, they've been watching the show and have yet to delve into, using a wet palette. And I highly recommend they do. At the very least, it saves you paint. It preserves your color mixtures, for a reasonable amount of time, not, forever or anything like that, but, and it's a really handy device, and they're so relatively cheap to make. I mean, like the video I shows for $4, $4 measly dollars. That's less in American. That's $2 American. In British pound, that's less than a pound. And it'll save you, I'd say, 10 times that amount over the course of your painting career. So definitely something to consider. Spike you, yeah, I got the wet palette a few weeks ago and love it. No more swampy paint. Tyler Bortel, sup, Kris? Sup. Sam Potts, I became a silver vault member. Brain overload with all that is available. I seen that you were talking about Kris when with the fur wet blending. Oh yeah, when I was talking about the wet blending with fur, yeah. So silver membership, it's worth its weight in silver. especially for a lot of people who are new to this hobby, or still coming to grips with a lot of terms and things like that. Sam, if you're still delving deep into the vault, I have and if you are relatively new to this, I have a series, miniature painting 101, and it goes over terminologies, goes over tools, goes over techniques, everything. It's a very introductory kind of program. It's like about 10, 12 videos, and yeah, it answers most of the questions that a lot of new people have, even newer people, so it should be in its own little category, but it's not, and so you got to kind of go digging in and looking for it, but you'll find it. Dr. Xantos, not a real doctor. Xantos is part has been using for years and thought if Doom can be a doctor without proper doctorate, so can I. Right. I knew it was something like that. I knew it was something. Okay. Eric Coyne. Okay, so not painting related, but do any of you following the playoffs? No, I don't follow the playoffs. Only football. And football doesn't start for a while, so hockey I don't really follow. Baseball don't follow. Basketball don't follow. Cricket don't follow that. Soccer, not a clue. So unfortunately, yeah, I'm completely of zero help in that topic. Excuse me. Lazy Monkey Wet Palette is awesome, though for me it is keeping me from wasting paint as opposed to improving the painting itself. Well, right, but like a palette and just like a wet palette, they'll help you improve your painting, right? Because it allows you to feel the paint more and get control of it, when you're mixing and things like that. And then also when you have your color mixtures on your wet palette, it can preserve that longer for you, so you can actually, get a little bit better and you're more efficient in your application of colors and things like that. Isaac Neal, hello Isaac Neal. Hunara? Era? Yeah, I'm very different. Hi, Chris. Chris's Lube. It's not Globe. Lucian. Comment just flew right by. Chris, why do you have baking soda next to your desk? I mean, I get the lube, but how does the baking soda factor into all this? You get the lube. It's not lube. It's hand lotion. It's moisturizing. And the baking soda, I was doing tutorials with it, and then Lee was using it for bases, and it just kind of always just ends up sitting on my desk, and I don't put it away in my little cubby spots for my other supplies, so, it's laziness, I guess. Where am I? N163126. Man, we got to come up with something better than that. Yeah, I find the wet palette can allow me to find the consistency of paint I need and then keep it the way before it dries out. Exactly. That's exactly it. Leo Shee. Hello, all. Hello, Leo. George Hopkins. Anyone picking up the limited edition Space Marine today? Yeah, we're supposed to pick up a couple. I'm hopeful that Matthew remembers to buy some today because he said he was going to buy some. He was going to buy... I said, well, can you just get me one? And he said, I'm going to get a bunch. And I said, all right. And... so hopefully he remembers. And if by any chance he's watching this show, Matthew, don't forget to buy those Space Marines today. Because they're probably going to get all sold out today. They're probably not going to be any tomorrow, probably. Because it's only today and tomorrow, isn't it? 16th, 17th? I think was the sale, right? Sam Potts, Ad Lord, what did you pick? Everything series or Masterclass? Oh, you want to know the DVD series? David Taylor, by the way, Chris, the Airbrush noob is really good. Even without us, you managed to get yourself off track when talking. Well, because it's just me and my thoughts. And, I mean, I could just easily do Way the Rush, like, without, the live commentary. But I so love being able to interact with you guys that I don't think I could ever do this without, you guys, right? But, yeah, I could sit here and do Way the Brush without you guys. But it would just be a boring old email show, right? It would just kind of me just reading your emails and jabbering on about things and ideas and just, off in space, right? But whereas having you guys here live, and I can see the chat and I can see the comments, as they're coming in. I don't know. It feels a little bit more like we're interacting with each other. We're connecting, and we are actually trying to help each other somehow. I don't know, but I don't know. It feels good. I get all warm and fuzzy inside. Is what happens. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel fuzzy and warm. What a load of crap, eh? Lord Law Masterclass. Senpats. I do a lot of war machines, so I went for the everything series. Very cool. I mean, all the techniques, like a lot of them are shown on 40K models, but they apply just the same on war machine models. It's like painting black, right? Painting black armor, and I show it on a Raven Guard model. Well, how do you do it on a Dark Angel, on a pre-heresy Dark Angel, or how do you do it on a Black Legion model, or it's the same. It's the same thing. Just apply those techniques, apply them to another model. I mean, but some people, it doesn't quite clue in that way, and so you got to show them. Okay, well, here's a Dark Angel, and bang, here's a Dark Angel. Here's how I do it. Although I try not to repeat myself in those videos, especially the quick tips, because that'd be really crappy, right? If I just constantly just showed the same damn things all the time, it wouldn't be worth it, right? And so every time I show something, even if I've shown black once before or twice, then I'll try and show something a third way or a fourth way, you know what I mean? And so every time I answer sometimes the same question over and over again, I try and show it a different way. Because again, like I've mentioned before, there's many ways to get to your end result. There's many ways to skin a cat. How that expression comes to be, I don't know, but there's more than one way to the end result. And, I try and show that, basically I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm trying to figure out more ways on how to achieve a result rather than just the usual typical way of doing something. And so, yeah, that's all. Wrong ones. Lord Law. I started painting in the 80s. It took a 15-year break. Oof, that's a long break. But I'm finding that I like it's like riding a bike and falling in love all over again. I kind of like that sentiment. Yeah, it's like riding a bike and falling in love all over again. I like that. I took a break for a while. When I was I was still painting when I had my son. I was thinking when I took a break when I started having a family, but no, there was somewhere at some point I took a break. I had kids, and I took a break. I can't remember when that was. It was a while ago though, and I took like a year or two break. Oh, I think it was near the end of the 4th edition, 40K. Yeah, 4th edition 40K. I took a break. I just wasn't happy with everything, and I gotta take a break, And I stopped painting, I stopped playing. And just took a break, concentrated on other things. And at the time, my father was ill. And so I was helping my father a lot. And, spending a lot of time with him. And, yeah. And that also was when I started getting back more into my canvas work as well. And so, yeah. Mick Whiskey. That 101 series was one of my favorite ever. Well, thank you. I hope it was, illuminating for you. I know for a lot of newer people, like a lot of these concepts that get thrown around, wet blending and, zenithal and, these things like that, people get intimidated by them. And so hopefully that series at least, demystified that, that fear, I guess. Ishab. I don't know, it's always Ishabi. Anyway. I'm late. I'm here now. What I miss. Hey, Kris, Sammy C saying hola, mahola. Hola, aloha, mahola. No. Aloha, mahola? Anyway, if I spelled it right, hi, the rest of the class. Oh, it's a class now. Naglaref, there's a name. Haven't read in a bit. Naglaref. McWhiskey, turned my painting around in a matter of days. Oh, wow. That's impressive. That's good. I mean, that if it did the old kind of 180 switcheroo for you and kind of just made everything kind of click for you, that's really good because that means that there's a few other people out there who were it just wasn't clicking for them, and then something like that comes along and says, no, here's how you go about it, and they go, oh, that all makes sense, and then boom, the painting just takes off, and that's really good. That's very inspiring. Ghost Starman Deluxe. There's no way 4 Canadian dollars is £1. Well, it'd be more like £2, I guess. Closer to £2. The exchange is horrible, dude. That would make 4 Guardian Blizzard Pack $24. Do you know what Canadians pay for models? It's not quite as much as Australians, but yeah, we're like next in line for highest price tag on models. Hunera, my baking parchment is too porous. The next day, my paint is like a wash. Need to find a better paper. Yes, well, because there's 2 different kinds, right? There's wax based, and then there's a silicone based. And the one I have is actually a silicone based, and I find that it wicks just enough moisture through the paper that it doesn't get too puddly or anything like that. So, yeah. Holy crap, we just blew through a whole bunch here. Black Widow 61, good day, Kris. Good monkeys, good day. Kurt Krishon, regarding Klunsky sables, I'm of 2 minds, but in Siberia it is a vermin species, so overpopular, rapid breeding, and tell me they shave the hair, so no killing, but I haven't been able to verify. Yeah, I've heard that. Well, what I've heard the Klunsky sables are from mink. That's what I've heard. The sable is from minks, which are not, well, I mean, they could be a vermin there, but last I heard, mink weren't a vermin. I mean, they're kind of like, they're like big weasels, right? So, hopefully they're not treated like vermin, because they're really nice animals. But anyway, yeah. But that's what I understand. The Klonsky sables, it comes from the mink. Legion Painting, hello everyone. Everyone. I don't know, I'm busting into this accent, but anyway. Tyler Bortel, do you have any of your canvas work handy? I'd love to see it. No, but if you do a quick search of my name, you'll find my DeviantArt page. Also, like, if you do a quick search of my name, or, like, you'll see, like, when you go to, like, the spreadshirt for the Way of the Brush t-shirts, you see I have my my company name, which is Jajak Studio. That's how you say that word, Jajak Studio. And you'll find, if you go to my blog, there's links all on my blog in the bottom of the page, and I think on the side. You'll find my artwork all over the place. I do a lot of digital, do a lot of canvas, and stuff like that. Basically, for a while there, I was hitting the powwows, and I was creating like the dotems, which is like the crest, like the family crest for for everybody that that's Ojibwe, and selling T-shirts, with the names on it. So if it was a crane, like the Sandhill cranes, if it was one of them, it would say Jijak. If it was a loon, it would say Mong. It was a bear, it would say Makwa. All these different things, and so I was going to powwows and selling the stuff, and made a couple coins off it, and it was I think it was somewhat educational for a lot of people. Of course, everybody's now screaming at emails. Is it email time? Holy crap, it's already almost 12:30. Tyler Bortel, $4 Canadian is 2.2 pound. British pound. Senpots, Kris, yes, actually seeing your way of wet blending the fur is so easy to do now. If one can visually see in their mind the transition of the colors, the battle's half won. Yeah, exactly. Kris Christensen. Hey, Kris. Kris Christensen. Hey, Kris. I was watching the Sit and Talk with Steve, and he told us about keeping the tip of the brush neat and sharp. Why are you against that? By the way, the lovely show and the quick tips. LYLT. I don't know what that means. Their tips for keeping the brush tip neat and sharp. It's a temporary solution to simply use your saliva. I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about, right? Is using your saliva to keep the point tip. That works while you're painting, but I mean, I don't do that. Well, maybe with my fine brush I do sometimes. With just my lips. Not so much that saliva's in there. It's just I purse my lips and I just draw it to the point like that. But I do it with my fingers as well, because when you use your brush soap, I don't put the freaking brush in my mouth, because that soap tastes awful. And yeah, I think that's why you kind of get out of the habit of putting your brushes in your mouth when you start using your brush soap more regularly. That's what it is, I think, is you stop that, because that taste is just, it's brutal. It's brutal. So, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I don't know what that LYLT though means. N163126. Yeah, again, we got to work on that name, dude. Apparently, Klonsky sables are banned from import into the States. Has anyone heard of this? I'm from Australia. I have heard of it. I've heard of that. There was a hard time getting them into the States a year or two ago, because that was why there was a big delay on the Winsor Newtons, and I think it was like Da Vinci and stuff like that. Yeah, there was a big delay on that, a lot of that. Onyabu, dinner time. Good evening, Chris and fellow monkeys. Good evening. Kurt Christensen. Oh, LYLT is love you a long time. Oh, I love you a long time. Gotcha. Sam Potts is a brush licker. Spite You is a brush licker. Oh, never been, never will be a brush licker. Yeah. No, I mean, it's not like it's a bad habit. It's not like it's going to ruin your brushes. It's just that once you are using your soap more often, and you can taste it on your brush. If you put your brush in your mouth, you'll taste it. But like whenever I'm drawing my brush to a point, I usually am drawing that point along the palette. That's why I highly recommend everybody use a palette, because if you need your bristles to go to a point while you're applying your color, you're simply just drawing your brush along the palette and you bring it to a point. I mean, that's all it is. And then when you would bring the brush to a point after using your brush soap, you're using your fingers. You're not using your mouth, because again, you really don't want that taste of that brush soap in your mouth. So, Eric Coyne telling me this 2 times to do an email. 2 times? 2 times. All right, let's do an email for monkeys start flinging poo. And this is from Vito. Hey, Chris, thank you for taking a view of my work. I'm really glad that you liked what you saw. To answer a few questions that you had asked in the previous email, I do primarily use an airbrush. I'm rocking an Awada and Eclipse HPCS with the Awada SmartJet compressor. Thousand Suns Fire Raptor you saw was painted with an airbrush, not using a dry brush. Okay. I suppose not being able to tell the difference is a good thing. Somewhat, yeah. If you dry brushed it and it looked like airbrush, then that's a compliment. Otherwise, they both kind of look the same at a distance. But anyway, also I am not a big fan of the metallic red on the Thousand Suns. You're not a big fan of that? That looks so great though. Oh man. Despite them being very popular, so I went with my own ruby color. Very cool. To kind of just talk at that point a moment, why not? That color scheme, that metallic red and metal, it kicks ass. It's so awesome. I mean, I'll show you guys in a moment here. I've been anybody who's been following my channel and watching my Airbrush Noob series recently, I've been working on the walls from I picked up from Adepticon from wargaming. And I changed what I did, and so yeah, there'll be an update soon enough on that. But anyway, I'm thinking I want to go Thousand Suns now. I think I want to pick up a bunch of Thousand Sun models, because I just want to do that color scheme, because that metallic red looks so awesome. Anywho, where am I? The land spaders were used cake toppers to give the idea of them flying around the ruins of Prospero. I found them in the cake aisle at the bulk barn. I've included photos of my work as per your request. Since your last video you said you were biased towards Eldar, I made sure to include some for you. As always, CNC is welcome. Tried to keep the email short, but I didn't. Cheers, dude. Vito Verano? P.S. I thought I'd include some photos of my Armies on Parade board, which took gold last year. Awesome. Currently working on a Prospero board for Thousand Suns for this year. Very, very cool. Okay, so let's check out some of his work here. This is Vito's handiwork, and I do like the shading on this guy. Oh, is that all the... I can't zoom in more, can I? Oh. Like the base, like the texture on that. Edge highlighting, I like the edge highlighting, but I don't know if I'd gone that bright. See, like how you got edge highlighting here? And then it looks like brighter on some of these other points, like on the leg here. I think I'd have gone like with that edge highlighting all over them. And then just at the corners, gone with the brighter one. But that's me. Oh, very nice. Oh, why isn't this showing properly? There we go. Very nice work. Like the cockpits. I like that. I like the, like, here it feels very regular Uthweek, you know, with the little, I don't know, whatever the heck, the kind of crazy kind of chevrons they got going on. This one feels very Samhan, but yet it's not. It almost feels more like it's like a ribbon of some sort, like this one's designed for like the aspect warriors, and this one's designed to carry, say, for example, the warlocks or the Farseer or something. Anyway, that's the impression I get. Either way, looks very cool. I like Eldar. Oh, look at this guy. Very cool. Where's his hair? Blue goop. Very nice. He's making me cold just looking at him, actually. Getting kind of chilly. Getting chilly. Oh, look at these guys. Very nice. I like him. See, I like the edge highlighting on this guy, and you get very tight and small on the at the end of the gun, and then through the middle you kept it kind of small, and you got a little bigger on the ends here. Whereas like on him, it feels just a little too much edge highlighting, especially on that cloak. It feels too big. He looks good. I like how it feels like his shadow is casting down onto the stone here. It's very cool. I like it. It's a very straightforward process. You just lay out your basic colors and then just give it a quick little edge highlight. Looks like you do a little bit of highlighting with the airbrush. Get some of those nice transitions going. So, this is his Thousand Suns. He's going different from the Forge World stuff. He's instead of the metallic red, which I absolutely adore. Ooh, he's got some writing back here. Do not open till Christmas. That's what it says. Very nice. I like the old school stuff. The new school stuff that looks like old school stuff. I dig it. Oh, look at these guys. Very cool. Where'd you get the bases from? Because I noticed he's got like the little scarab in the base. Where'd you get the bases from? Those are very cool. Where'd you make them? If you made them, then awesome stuff. If you bought them, where'd you buy them from? Relatively straightforward, no? Holy crap-a-rollies. Look at this guy. Where's his big shoulder guns? He needs his big shoulder guns. I like the color scheme on this guy. I like your use of the kind of not quite non-metallic metal, but the shading I really like. I guess is really where I'm going with that because it's dark at the bottoms. So you've gone for more of a typical kind of shading. Looks very big. Looks heavy. Looks ominous. I think what would kind of spruce him up in some points is like little yellow chevrons or, like kind of like those highly stylized like lines or like the towel writing in line in yellow, a faded yellow, not a strong yellow. Very cool. I like that. I'm not really one for Tau. I mean, I still have a soft spot for Tau stuff. And when they came with this model, man, I was like, oh man, I might have to go back to Tau. Because this thing is so cool. It's crazy. I really like the color scheme on this. I like you got your glowing yellows at the weapons here, the blue and green. That was really nice. The base, even on the other guy too, the base, wrong one. Yeah, like it's just grass with that, rock on it, and it looks like corkboard. And so, I mean, if you were entering these into kind of competitions or anything like that, you might want to dress them up a little bit more, or change the surface on them, put like sand or something on them. I don't know, something so it doesn't look like little slabs of corkboard you just threw down. Very cool. I like it. Oh, very nice. Color scheme I like. I like that cyan with the purple. I'm not huge on this dominantly reddish orange. I think it was closer to more yellows. But that's just me. Very cool. Oh, yeah, didn't you see these last time where you had this celestial stuff on the base? Yeah. Really good stuff, though. Vito, and I do believe he said he's a commission painter. I think he had a didn't he have a Facebook page as well? I think he has a Facebook page for his commission service, if I do remember correctly, because it was like I think 2 weeks ago we looked at his work. They're all in space. Pigs in space. Oh, look at this. It's a boat. Can I zoom in? Let me zoom in. Ugh, can't zoom in. There we go. It's a bunch of marauders taking over a dark elf ship. Very cool. I like the waves. The water is just churning. This is really, really good. I like it. Big old sea monster. Can't remember what the heck that thing's called. I like the coloring on it. See, I like how they got the transition in through there from that kind of that reddy purple, that magenta out to the yellow. I like that. What was your inspiration for that? An octopus? I'm willing to bet it was an octopus. So I think an octopus kind of... I've seen some octopus that have that kind of coloring. And he carries over to the cloaks. That's very cool. This guy's just standing here. Come on, bring it on. Very cool. Last stand. Awesome stuff. Yeah, nice work. Is that it? That's it. So thank you, Vito, for sending that in. That's awesome, awesome work. And congratulations on your taking. Was it a gold? Yeah, a gold. Taking a gold in the armies on parade. That's very awesome. Well, I definitely would say it's well deserved. Yeah, all around awesome stuff, man. Really good stuff. I think when you are edge highlighting, especially when you're doing just like say quick little airbrushing and then edge highlighting, be a little bit more subtle. I think with the highlights. I like the Wraith Lord. I liked if it was a darker edge highlight and then just a little bit brighter at the corners, just to kind of really kind of accentuate like the armor panels and stuff. But again, just me. Otherwise, keep going because doing pretty darn good work there. Holy moly! Time at 12:40. Lots of time. Coffee. Oh yeah, real quickly here. I'm going to show you guys. my little wall section. So anybody who's following the Airbrush Noob, I had hit the bottoms with like a darker gold, and so I'll be showing the video soon enough. But what I did was I used the lighter gold, came in, reestablished the bottom of it, and then I hit it with the Angron from Forge World, the Angron red, and that just turned out just so lovely. I mean, look at that. How nice and red that is. And shiny. I still have to seal it again though, but yeah, they're looking more Samhan to me now. That's a nice red on the armor. So, yeah. Expect that video if I get it done today. Probably expect it maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Lord of Midgets, Kris, how do I make women love me, men fear me, and thin army painter paints for airbrushing? Whoa, what? Okay, well, how do you make women love you? You can't make anybody love you. You gotta just accept people for who they are, and they'll accept you. How do you make men fear you? Confidence. Confidence in your own ability. And yeah, men will tremble before you because you're just confident, and they're just like, I don't know what he's confident about. He must be really awesome. And men will fear you. And thin army painter paints for airbrushing, just a bit of water or airbrush thinner. You could probably use something like Vallejo's or Liquitex or basically anything. But I mean, you could probably just use just a couple drops of water, and yeah. Army painter paint's really kind of thin to begin with, so it might even go through the airbrush, just like that. I use scale 75 paints, and I don't thin them at all, and they're about, it feels like about almost the same consistency as like regular Vallejo paints. Vallejo Air is really, really thin, and like Minotaur is really, really thin. Like they feel almost, watery, almost like in their on how they move on the palette. So, yeah, I'd say just a bit of water. You're probably fine. Brandy. Those Forge World airbrush paints are nice. Yeah. Well, the airbrush, I only picked up the transparent colors just for the because I'm gonna do a compare and contrast between the Minotaur Ghost Tints and the Forge World, and so expect that sometime soon in the vault, Mini Wargaming vault. Not on my site, although I do kind of talk about it beforehand in the videos, but you gotta watch my videos to catch what I'm thinking. So David Taylor, men fear you, run at them with a machete. Sure, you could always do that. Ben Ossick, sacrifice the skulls of 30 unborn children to the dark gods. Oof. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Tolo, the answer for Lord is be bat SH1T crazy. Lucian Vassar, he's laughing his head off. Kris's sage advice. That's right from here, man. It's right from here. David Taylor, aren't Army Painter about the same consistency as Reaper and Scale 75? Yeah. That's what I was just mentioning. Yeah, the Army Painter paints, at least in my experience with them, they've been fairly thin. Like if you're going like by body, and by body I mean like the thickness of the paint. You have Games Workshop being the thickest. That stuff is like sludge, right? And then probably P3 would be right behind them, and then probably like Coat d'Arms, because it's the same manufacturer. They stick kind of similar kind of recipe. Although last time I was playing with P3 paints, they were a little bit thinner, but they still had like a little bit, like quite a bit of goopiness to them, which is pretty consistent with how Games Workshop produces their paint in a very thick, kind of goopy kind of consistency. Why they go like that way, I don't know. But then going down the scale, you have Reaper, which is really, really thin. Army Painter, which is pretty thin. Vallejo, which is pretty thin, usually. Scale 75 is pretty thin. Reaper and Scale 75, or Vallejo and Scale 75, they're probably the same as thickness. Not the air, but the Scale 75 goes into the airbrush right out of the bottle, right? So it's got to be just a little bit thinner, I guess, or maybe it's, I don't know, something in the body of it, I suppose. But yeah, it's because you can just pour it right in and it goes right through the brush, no problem. It's really good. I've been enjoying Scale 75 paints. But yeah, so quick rundown, I guess, of body paints is the thinnest body paints would be like Vallejo Air, Minotaur, basically any of your airbrush paints. But I mean, like airbrush paints, you can use them right out of the bottle, put them on your palette, and paint your models with them with a paintbrush, right? You can do that just fine, but just know that you have to lay down more than one coat to get that get a smooth, consistent coverage on the model, right? Oh, Lord of Midget, yeah, that's it. Man, I missed that opportunity right there. Yeah, everybody's saying Lord of Midget should have bought a Way the Brush T-shirt. Worked for me. Yeah, exactly. That was it. I missed that. I missed an opportunity on making a sale there. Yeah, everybody else is making that argument for me. Lord of Midget, I was thinking of buying some new T-shirts, but I just started attending a new store, and I don't know which with the neck beards swing yet. I don't want to be too sexy just yet. Jabba's Left Nut. I've never read that name here before. Men fear Kris when he's holding his lube. men fear Kris when he's holding. Yeah, men do fear me when I'm holding the lube, or I'm snapping a rubber glove. Everybody kind of. It's like deer in the forest. As soon as they hear that snap, and their ears are just trying to triangulate where it's coming from. Watch out. Tolo, Kris will only be a say when he lives outside the top of the hill of Hamilton. On top of the hill of Hamilton? It's a nice view up there, but man, getting up there is tricky. Well, further down the line, but in downtown, or like in town proper, man, it's treacherous, man. It's like this one tunnel that comes out, and it's like it's like a curved left, right, and you kind of come through, and like traffic comes across, but it's like through a tunnel, and like you can't make any determination if a car is coming, and it's all yields. There's no stops. Like I'm surprised that there's not more deaths on that corner. Craziness. Toothless. Am I late? Depends on what you're late for. If you're late for the show, yes, we're already 50 minutes in. If you're late to the silliness, no. We're just building up. Sand pots, I mainly use Irving Painter, P3, and Vallejo, and I agree P3 is way thicker than the other two I use. Yeah. P3, because P3 is kind of like old school GW paint, which was, it had a body to it. It was a little bit, thick feeling, but it flowed really, really well. And I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to bet that it's the same company that does Coat to Arms paint line, do P3, because they're the exact same bottles, and P3 bottles are the exact same bottles that Games Workshop paints used to come in. And so, yeah. What the oh yeah. Lord of Midgets, I only saw 2 women, and you're telling me that one of the neckbeards is a woman. She's a dwarf? What? Chaos, how do you live stream this for us? How do I live stream this for you? How do I do it? By spinning plates. I'm using a PC. It has a capture card in it by Blackmagic. I can't remember which capture card it is. It probably doesn't even sell anymore because newer versions of it would be out by now. I think it's got 2 capture cards in it actually. But anyway, and I use the camera that I use for filming the tutorials. I use that camera to transmit, which gives me a sharper image, and I can play with the color, and I can play with the settings, and I can play with the image. Is basically what I'm saying, and change focus and whatever. And that plugs into the camera by a HDMI line, which plugs into the computer, into the capture card. and then I'm using XSplit to capture all the imagery and also kind of switch between screens and, all that. But sometimes this machine doesn't like to do all these spinning plates, and so it will fail on me sometimes. And, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but it happens. But as of late, knock on wood, it hasn't happened in a long time. So, because I haven't done any updates, that's why I haven't done any updates. And this program, XSplit, still wants me to update it, and I keep telling it to take a walk because I'm not updating, because that was why we couldn't do that one show 1 week about a few months ago, because it was just, I don't know, pain in my behind. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question, Chaos. That's how I do the live stream. And of course I stream it right to YouTube. When I first started doing the show, I was doing it on Twitch. But I found it was really kind of dumb because we would broadcast on Twitch, which people could watch live on Twitch. And they could also watch, could they watch the post show, or did we lock it? I can't remember. Anyway, we would have the computer record live and make a file. And so when the show was done, we'd upload that to YouTube. And so I was like, when I first started doing the show by myself here, and I was, well, why am I doing it that way? Why don't I just go straight to YouTube, cut out the middleman, and, and don't have to save any files. It's all done right there on YouTube. And that's done. Yeah, I know, email time. Jeez. Don't gag. Ben Osek at Kris, do you think you'll be available to bring models with me to paint at college? What? Do you think I would be... Oh, it would be advisable to bring models. Sorry. It would be advisable to bring models with me to paint at college. Sure, why not? Why not? I mean, you might run into other guys and girls who might be into what you're playing. So, why not? Let people know what you're about, man. Don't be afraid. These are different times we live in. When I was in high school, I didn't really brag that I was a wargamer. Because, get into a scrap, kids try and pick on me. But I mean, I was a bit bigger than most kids anyway in high school, so a lot of people didn't really bother me. But, yeah. I mean, yeah, I realize that it's not really the way to pick up girls. Like, ooh, look at my model collection. You whip that out. You whip that one out on her. Third or fourth date. That way, she's trapped and she's got nowhere to go. She's, oh crap, he's a damn wargamer. At least that's how I play those cards anyway. Especially if she's really cute. Yeah, she's really nice. But everybody's got their own things. Everybody's got their own hobbies and stuff. So I mean, don't be afraid to take your hobby with you and kill time, because I mean, like, school's gonna be stressful, man, and you need to be able to blow off steam. And painting, if it's what helps you center yourself, then by all means. Legion Painting, Kris, I sent you an email, and by the way, I forgot to mention that I only want to use those paints for the skin, not the whole model. Okay, yeah, I see your email. We got quite a few to go through, so I suppose we can do another email. Lord Luck, Kris, when do you review emails for the show? Kind of asking when the cutoff is possibly to get the email on the show. Well, the emails, I answer the emails in order in which they're received. And like right now, because like last couple shows, like I missed one because I went to Adepticon, and so we've gotten like a week behind from that. And yeah, I mean, like I'm about end of March is where I'm at for emails. So yeah, I mean, send it in, tune in, and yeah, I'll get to your email. But again, I answer them in the order in which I receive them. So yeah. David Taylor, episode 115, you whip it out on the third or fourth day. I'm tempted to use that one. Screw it. I'm using it. I like that one. Good job, David. Because I wasn't even thinking in those terms. I wasn't even being dirty or anything like that. I was just throwing some advice out there, right? So you whip it out. Oh man, wargaming, Lord of Midgets, wargamer dating service would make a great show title. Yeah, hard to say. I mean, like, this niche is dominated by men. Well, males, not men. More like boys, but we'll say male. Because that really does denote age, you know what I mean? So it's just male, right? And there's not a lot of females in this niche. And so a dating service, I don't know how well that would do, because I don't know, there's just it's not enough mixture in there. The paint wouldn't flow nicely. You gotta like, if men the paint and women are the thinner, you need more thinner in it so it flows nice. And as it is right now, it doesn't flow very well. It's more like molasses, I would think. Dr. Santos, boys don't grow up, toys only get more expensive. Yes, and that's exactly true. Because, man, I'm okay. Don't tell anybody, but I'm 40, right? And I'm still playing with toys. Let's read an email, because everybody's getting grumbly in here. And this is from Sammy C. Is regarding basic and advanced painting techniques, books, or videos. Holy man, Sammy, did you send me a great big wall text here? Dear Kris, hi, it's me, Sammy C, aka Abby. Oh, anyway. In other words, can't repeat it well in such fine company. I've got a question that I hope maybe you can help out and suggest things about. Would you know any good books or videos on painting techniques? I think I know what you were saying. Painting is about doing, not reading, and I agree 100%. Well, no, not really. I mean, when I was younger, and I mean, like, the only books that like for painting were like the old GW painting guides. And I mean, like, you sat there and you read those and you looked through the picture diagrams. I mean, you can pretty much just follow the diagrams and see, what they're talking about. But sometimes there's nuances with the brush, how you handle it and pressure and, as you turn, as you draw along, things like that, are hard to visualize or show in a diagram rather than, describing it right in text. But anyway, so no, you can read about techniques, and you should read. You should be reading about it. However, I'm getting frustrated not knowing what may be some basic knowledge and techniques, as well as more advanced info on the subject of really knowing how to paint. I'm searching for any good books, DVDs on painting, which will help me figure this all out. Things that you typically talk about, review, go over, etc. I.e., wet blending, dry blending, washes, shades, use of color, highlight, OSL, using the color wheel, different painting styles, etc., etc., etc. If there is such a thing out there like that, maybe you can drop me a note back. Heck, maybe do a show tell on your next Way of the Brush show. Hell, how much for tutoring? You never know. I could hit the lotto and then be able to afford that. I'm really just trying to understand all the concepts out there and help me improve what I'm trying to do. So anything you can suggest, reference, etc. beyond these great vault vids would be a big help, and a type of old school dude likes to have it on the shelf reference when I need it. Man, if I read that correctly. Later, man, and thanks for all you do. P.S. Sorry for so many words in this email to ya. So, Sammy C. Yeah, that was a little wall text. A book that's kind of end all be all. Well, okay. The last book that goes over some, in detail, and techniques and stuff like that, but it doesn't get into like the basics of it. It's more like if you already know how to paint kind of thing. And that was the book by buddy who does the infinity painting. He put out a book. He does the infinity models. Angel? Yeah. Angel Giraldez, something like that. Really good book. I've gone through that book, and it's very thick, full of great information. But it already assumes you know how to paint, and so picking up a book like that, as great and as full of information as it is, doesn't help you. It doesn't help you at all, being a new person, right? So you really kind of need something that's for the really, really beginner. And I think Games Workshop really is kind of the ones to kind of, I think, can really kind of nail that one. But you have to find one of those old painting guides, because they kind of go over from beginning to end. And I know the one that I had, it was a red one, and it was a fairly big size, but like it went right from cleaning the models to, getting the mold lines off, priming, base coating, shading, highlighting, dry brushing. It went through all that stuff as, as a big, book. Thomas Huntley, White Dwarf, issue 94, covers the basic terms, etc. Really? I'm going to have to double check that one. Yeah. Even old White Dwarfs, too, they had old painting articles and stuff like that. Back when White Dwarf was informative. Ben Osek, Kris, have you ever done a Painting 101 type series? Yes, I have. I was just talking about it earlier in the show. If you go into Mini Wargaming's vault, okay, Miniature Painting 101, and I show the color wheel, I go through all the terminologies, all the tools, the techniques. It's like 12 videos. Each one's like 20 minutes long, 15 to 20 minutes long. Well, not the color theory ones. Color theory ones go by about 5-10 minutes. But anyway, yeah. And I was really quite pleased, because initially what it was going to be, kind of like this, where the Miniature Painting 101 would be treated more like a classroom type thing, where, I'd be an instructor, you guys would attend class, and so now you would get people who are not used to painting. Okay, and so they'd sign up for the class, and then vault members would get a discount, and of course it'd be treated like a class. And so you'd have to go through the modules, and we'd go for a week or two during the class on miniature painting, and it'd be a couple live sessions, and stuff like that, and get to ask questions, and if you had problems and whatever, it'd be like a classroom. Essentially, that's what I'm getting at here. It'd be like if you took a class, and that's what initially that Miniature Painting 101 was designed to be. It was the first module, and I haven't gotten into any other modules because I just haven't had time to get into them, and also I haven't been because I was going to do it as part of Mini Wargaming, but if I was independent, then I'd have to do it on my own, and do it that way, which could still happen. So yeah, but yeah, I go over all the terminologies, Wish I could show you a video right now. But yeah, it's all in the vault. But you can sign up for the vault, try it for 7 days if you already haven't. And you can cancel and try for free, and you get this information. But I think for a lot of you guys out there who are new to this, and you're thinking, well, do I really want to spend this money a month on my subscription to this service? And I think you will, honestly, because it's packed full of videos and information. Just the painting stuff alone is just, quick tips is like 600 and some videos, and each video is something different. It's a different topic, something very specific but very different. So yeah. Ishab, yeah, thanks for the notes. Took down the info, and we'll look into things. Yeah, Sammy, as far as as a beginning and end all kind of book, I don't know if one exists. I don't know. Because a lot of the good beginner stuff, Games Workshop already laid out there a couple times in different painting guides. And everybody else who produces like DVDs and stuff like that, they already kind of come at it from a perspective that you already know how to paint, and you're taking, these advanced kind of techniques and things like that. And so, I guess it's just really kind of a grow at your own pace kind of thing. So I don't know. Yeah, it's really really kind of hard to figure out, really. If anybody out there knows what's a great beginner book, beginner to immediate, or even to expert, feel free to write it in the comments here, guys, because or shoot me an email, and because I have no idea. I know Doc Eon, he does reviews on his channel on painting DVDs and stuff like that, and I've watched quite a few of them because I have no idea. And yeah, David Taylor, painting Buddha is amazing, but it's not really for beginners. Yeah, exactly. See, that's what I mean. Like all these painting DVDs out there that come out, they're not geared towards new people, and I think that's missed opportunities for everybody out there who's making these DVDs. They're not making these things for beginners. Now, a lot of the stuff that I show, I try and show so that a beginner can understand it, but otherwise, yeah. Unless, of course, maybe I'm the only guy doing this for beginners. I don't know. It might be, because then the vault is, is a heyday for anybody who's relatively new to this, beginner to intermediate. I mean, and some advanced stuff. I mean, like, I'm not really one for, going in for like advanced and, intermediate and, beginner techniques, like, glazing, right? They say it's an advanced technique. Well, layering paint is the first step to putting paint onto a model. How thin or thick you have the paint is a subtle nuance. And I mean, is it advanced? Well, I mean, a guy who learns that right from the start, who starts glazing, and it's the first technique he ever learns, it's the only technique he ever learned. I mean, it's not advanced or intermediate, is it? You know what I mean? Does that mean he's an advanced painter right from the start? No, it doesn't. It's the first technique he's learned. That's all. So, yeah. Sammy C, the vault has been true help. Yeah, but Sammy, did you know that I had that miniature painting 101 series? You have to kind of dig a bit because it's about 2 or 3 years old. And yeah, you'll have to find it in there, and hopefully that kind of helps, terminologies, brush techniques, and color wheel, and all that stuff. It would have been a lot more fun to have that committed to a DVD, but it was really designed to be more of, as I mentioned, like it was more of a classroom type thing. It was going to be, all right, kids, here's today's lesson, have at her. Dr. Faust, yeah, I like Dr. Faust as well. He's all over the place a lot of times, so I mean, you have to kind of like wade through a lot of his stuff to kind of get stuff, if that makes any sense. Jay's channel does it for beginners. Now, is that in his vault, or not his vault, but his, was it the Warp? It's his subscribers section. I don't know. I've never checked out his subscriber section, so I have no idea what the kind of videos he's got in there. Yeah. Ben Osick, yeah, GW had a book called How to Paint Still Miniatures. That was pretty helpful. And there was one they had earlier before that one, back in late 90s, early 90s, and it was a good one. It was a red-covered book. I think it had like the old sculpt of Commissar Yark on the cover, and I think an Orc War Boss, and some other High Elf I think I had on it. Anyway, yeah, it was a good book, and it had lots of great information in it. Yeah, let's do. I don't know what we're talking about now, but let's do an email. And this is from Sage Ronan. I don't know. Hey Chris, I'm doing Iron Warriors Siege Force. It will be armor heavy. I want to make the tanks look like they have crossed the muddy no man's land. Could you do a video on how to do mud clumps with or without grass on the sides of the tank? It doesn't look funny. I wasn't sure if I was going to do the same as mud clumps on the tracks because that is more grass pushed into the mud. I was thinking of doing it in clumps. That way I guess it would be more like sod patches. And for the vindicators, do you think the dry mud would stay on the tank, or do you think the blast from the gun would shake the tank so much that it would keep knocking it off? Love your work, keep it up, and learn so much from watching them. Well, I mean, I could do a video on it. Maybe I will. Doing mud clumps. Well, I mean, again, it's referencing, right? It's always referencing what you're going after. You know, when you watch something, say, for example, like Fury, right? But World War II tanks. And there's lots where they're going through mud and, you know, the mud's on the tank and stuff like that. And you can see, like, they're tearing up the earth as they're moving through, but yet not a lot of earth collects on the, you know, the side of the tank, or even that much really in the tracks, right? Because all those gears and all those things are always constantly moving, and so they're always shaking the dirt off. And so I think you would have like a good amount of mud on stuff. You probably have some good splatters of mud, you know, and maybe here and there just like tiny little tufts of grass stuck here and there. But otherwise, I don't think you'd have like big chunks of earth on the model. And the Vindicator, I like the idea that it would be like it had like a good layering of mud, but then as the guns are going off, it's shaking all that dried mud off. I kind of like that idea. Doing a dried mud like impression, like, you know how, like, say mud is stuck on a wall and it's been sitting there for a bit, and then when it gets dry and it, you know, it flakes off and you can still see that perfect outline of it. I think something like that would actually be pretty interesting. Yeah, I think that would be very, very interesting. I'm trying to think how to achieve that result without it looking like you just drew dirt on. And I'm trying to think of how, like, you can represent that by having the mud and it break and then have the outline so that you know that that's what happened, right? Because the guns are going off and it's constantly just kind of shaking the mud off. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. So, will I do a video? Who knows? I kind of like the idea. Kind of like the idea of doing a video for it. So, yeah, it may happen. It may happen. Sam Potts, there's a guy who has a show called Way the Brush. That's pretty good tips for you. Yeah, this guy Way the Brush, I don't know. Guy talks craziness sometimes though. Lord Krabby, hey Chris, is it worth dry brushing anymore because of the glaze that are out there? Oh yeah, no, definitely dry brush. Dry brushing is really good, even on, you know, say like a surface like this, where you want to just catch that edge, and say you want to pull some of that color down and create a bit of a gradient on it, right? You want to just catch some of those light details, some of those textures and stuff like that. A light dry brushing will catch those edges. So yeah, dry brushing still has its place. Fur, feathers, really rich texture rich things. Dry brushing is one of the best ways to go. It almost feels like it's the only way to go sometimes, but no, you can go without dry brushing. But yeah. But you, could you do another email? I could. Ross Dealey, oh God, I'm late. Are you late for the show, or you mean you're late? Like you're late. Like that time of month came up and you're late. Legion Painting, hey Chris, you should totally read my email. I totally will read your email. Matthew Perez, I like the idea of from the email. Yeah, with the mud and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Is there a 101 or quick tip on airbrushing basics? No, airbrushing basics. Austin from Brush for Hire or Death Ray Designs. a long time ago, he did a DVD series on introduction to airbrushing, and it's really, really good. It's in our vault. You have to dig for it, but it's really, really good. It's interesting. It goes over all the anatomy, the parts, the cleaning, you know, and you know, like uses and stuff like that. And so it's a really, really good series. I've referred many people to it just because it's a well put together video series that he did, and you know, it's definitely worth the watch. It's very informative, and it will definitely help you identifying, you know, what kind of brush you want to purchase. Like even if you haven't purchased a brush yet, what kind of brush you should be purchasing, you know, and yeah, stuff like that. So check it out. I think it's not Airbrush Everything. I can't remember what it's called. It might be Airbrush Everything, but I don't think that's what it's called. Man, I can't remember. Memory's horrible. Danish artist, even with glazing, you need to do some highlighting, which is mostly by dry brushing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, a brush technique is a brush technique. It's a tool in your toolbox. You use it here and there. One tool is not better than the other, right? I mean, you know, you can't have a hammer and a nail and a saw and, you know, I mean, and a measuring tape. I mean, like, they're all tools within your toolbox. You need them all to get the job done. Ishab. Okay, another topic. What's with the new Mark III coming out? I'm probably late in this, but does that mean new rules or rules and models too? I plan to watch the additional videos on the subject. I'm curious too. I haven't heard a whole lot about like what the changes are. I am kind of interested in, you know, what's going to happen. As far as new models, no, I don't think it'll be new models. It's just going to be a rule change. And I mean, the rules are going to be free. Like the main rules are free, right? So, you know, it's not going to cost you anything to play new rules, play a new rule set. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun. And I mean, like, why not? It changes the rules. And because I mean, like, you know, that's the challenge. Put a new rule set and, you know, overcome those new challenges. That's all part. That's why it's a challenge. David Taylor, Baby Monkey's on the way because he's late. I noticed he hasn't talked anymore. He's probably like, friggin' Kris, you're making dumb jokes at my expense. Yeah. Where are we? Lord Lud, Kris, do you do game challenges at Mini Wargaming like the other guys? Yes and no. More no than yes, but you never know. Because I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, I get tons of people who want to challenge me because I mean, like, you know, and I've played, right? I mean, like, most of the time though, like, I like playing Apocalypse, but I mean, like, playing regular 40K, I mean, I've done that, you know. And when this is done, yeah, I'm definitely gonna squeeze the game in because I want to see how well, you know, the Eldar perform. I mean, like, I'm sure lots of you guys are out there who played Eldar and used Aegis lines, but I mean, I've never used Aegis lines with my Eldar, so it's a completely new concept to me. That, you know, having like a fortification, like Eldar fortifying, what? No, that doesn't make any sense. So, yeah. I know, and a lot of people have asked about, you know, more Kris in bat reps, and yeah, I read, I'd like to do more bat reps. I mean, you know, gets me out of the office, keeps me from sitting here and staring at the computer screen all day long. So, where are we? I don't know where we are. So, we will read an email. Send pods, win or lose, I think it would be a great time to play War Machine against Kris. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I play Steelheads and Minions, so I like to play for fun. At least that's what I tell people. And then I just rage out. No, I'm just kidding. This is from Leo She. Hello, Kris. I was a first-time viewer of your show 2 weeks ago, and I must say I loved it. It is very informative and inspiring, and has gotten me back to the world of 40K. I'm currently now working on reserving some funds for a Khorne Demonkin army, I've attached one of my works below to gain some feedback on my work. This is the converted Emperor's Children's Sorcerer for 40k, which I made using pieces of Age of Sigmar star set and a few other bits from friends of mine had passed on to me. Looking forward to the next show. Keep up the great work, and it is really a meaningful thing that you do each week. Yours, HC Leo Shi. Well, thank you, Leo. And so let's have a look at his sorcerer. Very cool. And he's a conversion. Very cool. Very interesting with the little double base thing going on here. I guess he was kind of going for like cracked earth and tiles falling away. Or was it more of like a staircase kind of thing? Now, it's not bad. Leo, I don't think you have to worry at this particular time and place and getting your highlights down. I think getting a nice smooth base coat is paramount before trying to get, fancy with blending of colors and anything like that. So I think that's really where you'll perform well. Especially like, a space like this. I can't tell if the camera moved or if those details really are kind of washed away like that. Because if that's the case, then you're laying too much paint down. But see, I can still see all these details, which means that you didn't put too much paint down. So maybe that's the camera shake or something. Yeah, it's probably a camera shake. Because all that looks really, really soft. Yeah, it's got to be camera shake. So, yeah, I definitely would concentrate more on laying your base colors down. Cleaning the model, right? Getting all the mold lines off. Priming the model. If you're going to prime in black, then prime black, but don't over prime it. Don't spray too much primer down. Know the fact that it's just a primer. It's just allowing the paint to the surface to grab onto. And so you'll come in with your dark colors anyway and fill into the recesses and stuff like that, right? And, get used to thinning down your paint, working from a palette or even better, wet palette, thinning your colors and applying them in a nice, smooth, even state. Once you start getting used to that, then, getting into highlighting and glazing and dry brushing and stuff like that will seem relatively easy. Once you really start to master thinning your base colors and applying a thinned, smooth base coat, where you have a smooth base coat. Once you're doing that, I think you'll be ready to master other techniques. But otherwise, yeah, I really wouldn't worry about, trying to get, the highlighting down or anything like that. Just because, it's not really necessary in your early phases of your painting. You don't have to worry too much about it. Because even when you're playing for just tabletop, you're going to be playing the game, a solid base coat, if the base has got a color on it and all the model and all the details that got their base colors and stuff like that on them, just a base coat looks great. Right? And you throw an ink shade wash, you got some more color depth, you throw the decals on or transfers, and then bang, like the model, it looks like a complete model, and then you look at it and go, oh wait, it's one solid color. You didn't do nothing, but it looked really great on the tabletop. And so working to a base tone, working to a smooth base coat, definitely is definitely the way you want to go. But otherwise, keep going. Looks good. Keep up with the work. Really interesting conversion. I like that. A lot of character. So keep going, and you can only get better at this. I don't think there's anybody who started at this and then got worse. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. I don't think so. It seems kind of counterintuitive to my kind of thinking on it. But anyway, where are we in the comments? Toothless. How can you tell when the paint is thin enough? Well, if you're thinning by water and you can kind of see your palette through the color, you've thinned it down quite a bit. If you thin it and it still flows, and it flows kind of like milk, but you can't see your palette through, you can't see the palette, you can't see nothing through it, then that's a really, really thin, nice thin consistency. is when you can't see through it, right? Unless, of course, it's the clear paint, then it's kind of hard to tell. But it's really just experience and playing around with the colors and getting used to, how much you thin it. If you're applying base colors, it's okay to thin by water. I prefer medium, but it's okay to use water to thin your colors down because you again, you're going to be applying it all over the place. The only thing is, though, is be mindful because when water and paint mix and the viscosity is just kind of thrown out the window and it doesn't act like paint anymore, and so when you're applying it and it gets kind of watery, sometimes it tends to go head for the corners and stuff like that and build the paint up, and so you end up applying a couple layers, and also you find that the paint is built up really heavily in corners and areas, and it's no good. So always be mindful of that. Coffee. I need coffee. I'm yawning. Oh, man. What time is it? Holy crap, it's already 26 after 1. Francis Desjardins. At Toothless, the paint must flow. Must flow. Ben Osik, I'm still gonna tell Kris that I don't to make him twitch though. What? I don't to make him twitch? Muad'Dib. I don't know what he's been talking about. I don't know. Oh, paint water over medium? Or tap water over medium? Yeah, if you got, funny tap water, yeah, you really don't want to be mixing that in your paints because you don't know what kind of impurities you're mixing there. But again, I mean, I still use water sometimes when I'm thinning my colors, but most of the times, no. If I'm doing fine lines and things like that, medium. 100% medium. Use medium. Despite you, at Kris, one day I will send you an email. All right. One day. Lord of Midgets, Kris, can you give me any tips on highlighting gremlin boobs? Gremlin boobs? Highlight them the way you highlight the flesh. Yeah. Although, you're not going to edge highlight them, so you're going to do more of a zenithal style type highlighting, but otherwise, yeah. That's it. Pretty much the same. Ben Osek, Kris, we've been discussing how I don't use a palette and don't feel like I need to. Well, okay, well, I mean, that's the way you feel, dude. But how are you mixing your colors? Are you mixing your colors? First of all, do you feel the need to mix your colors? Because if you're not mixing colors and you're just painting straight from the pot, right from the pot to the model, and you don't want to have nothing to do with any of that mixing of colors, then, by all means, don't bother with the palette. If you're doing a lot of base coating and things like that, and you want to preserve your dollop of paint, what you're painting with, use a wet palette, draw that color, use that, get more life out of that paint. Sure, okay, that's fine. Because most of the time, when you're sitting there and you're painting with your paint pot open, okay, the entirety of that paint pot is exposed to the air. And what does the paint like to do when it's exposed to air? It likes to dry. So you're helping your entire paint pot dry prematurely as you sit there painting with the paint pot open. And also it increases the amount of gunk that builds up in the lid and along the lip of the paint. It also increasing that as well. So things to consider. I know, Ben, if you don't want to use a palette, then don't use a palette, man. Ben Osik, I mix colors on the model during the few times that I need to wet blend. Sure, but I'd imagine you've probably run into it a few times of putting too much paint down, having too much paint in the area, things like that. It's just easier to have the palette, or even a wet palette, there to do your colors, to hold your colors until you apply them to the model. Using a palette, has been a tradition of artists for centuries. And so, is it just tradition? No, it has a practical purpose as well. So, yeah. Warrior Vice, Kris, is it acceptable to lick the brush? Is it acceptable in good company? No. But otherwise, it's your brush. You want to stick your brush in your mouth? Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Like I said, like sometimes I still lick my brush, but I don't quite lick it. I mean, like I use my lips to draw it and pull off a little excess moisture as well. But otherwise, I'm not sitting there eating my paint. That's childish. So no, I mean, I all my paint brush control and paints is done on the palette. If I need my brush to go to a fine point, I use the paint to draw it to a fine point and apply it to the model, right? Once I've cleaned the brush, rinsed the brush off, and I'm done painting, I go to the soap. I use my brush soap, clean the bristles, condition the bristles by just drawing the excess paint and our soap and moisture through, and just draw it with my fingers to a point. I do not stick the brush into my mouth because you're going to eat that soap. So, no thanks. Lord of Midgets, I'd stick Chris's brush in my mouth. Thomas Huntley, I resent that, Chris. Resent what? Sticking your paintbrush in your mouth, just eating your paint? Yeah, who doesn't lick their brush? Oh, I know tons of people. And like I said, I do it still myself to a certain degree. But I don't, like, like one was, I was watching Ash painting his models. And he's using his saliva to thin the paint as he's painting. And I was like, you're using your saliva to thin the paint. Like that's disgusting. Never would I do it to thin my paint. No. But yeah, I was watching Ash one day, and I mean, like, Ash paints great, and he's quick. But my God, like, really, is it that much effort to go from the model to here to the model to here to, you know what I mean? Like, God, oh man, just awful. Spike to you at Kris. I have to go. See you next week. Great show. Peace. The monkeys. You guys are awesome. See you next week. Awesome. See you later, Spike you. David Taylor, Chaos Apathetic Fish. Yeah, I watched that guy too. Did an amazing video of Death Guard. It's free on YouTube. Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about Buddy's Death Guard problem there. Yeah. David Taylor, Kris, what paint tastes the nicest? I wouldn't know because I don't sit there tasting paint. Eating lead paint chips and stuff like that. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, man, we're in the 21st century here. And we still have people on this planet eating paint. Like, what kind of mouth breathers are those? Like, like eating paint. Then they wonder why nobody will take it seriously. You're sitting there. Nobody wants to take wargaming seriously or the painting seriously. Because you're sitting there eating paint. You know what I mean? Like, come on. I mean, I use artist grade oils and stuff like that, and I never put this stuff in my mouth. Why? Because it's toxic. That's why. It's a good habit. I mean, like it says non-toxic, but you know what? It's a little toxic. Oh, man. You have Vallejo flavored paints. Yeah, that's only encouraging people to eat the paint, and then they get people dying, and yeah, no. Man, no. Jeez, you guys are awful. No. Lord Law, I use my mouth to shape the brush, but rarely with the paint on. Yeah, exactly. I don't. After I've rinsed the brush, like it's my detail brush, and I'm drawing the excess moisture. Yeah, sometimes, and to get it to a point, yeah, I do it with my mouth, but my lips, not my entire mouth, or sticking the brush right into my mouth. No. No. It's just one of those habits that just I don't understand. Like, where it came from. Like, where did this, like, who taught you to stick the paintbrush in your mouth? Who taught you that? Garrett Thompson, I thought non-oil was soy sauce. Actually, Agrax looks more like soy sauce. because it's really dark, but it's got the hint of brown in it. I guess it depends on what kind of soy sauce you're getting, I guess. What do you have for lunch today? Oh, Cassandra yellow. Let's do an email. This is from Saba Sarez. I don't know if I'm ever saying his name right, but it's fun to say it that way. Hey, Kris. I've been painting since I sent you... Wait. It's been a while since I sent you stuff, and I got a lot done. So here we go with some crappy pics and a bit of dust. Here's some Mark III and some Caliph Mark IVs. A work in progress Lord and Praetor, and all my saved vehicles. The Land Raider was in really bad shape and couldn't even fix everything. Did a bit of crazy freehanding practice on the rhinos, and most of it came out well, but the Flaming Skull is meh at best. Any suggestions on how you would go about something like this? Also, thinking about something like a bleeding scratch mark. Keep up the awesome. Thanks, Sabo Perez. Okay. So, a bleeding scratch mark. Interesting. And what's to know about the freehanding? Right. Freehanding. So here's Sabo Perez. All right, he does the Night Lord stuff, right? Yeah, I remember because I can see the blue and I saw lightning, and so I put two and two together. I'm smart. So, very, very cool. Very consistent with the rest of his work. I like. Oh, yeah, here we go. Can we go to a longer picture here? Nope, that's crap. Nope, that's crap. Nope, that's no good. We're stuck with this one, I guess. Can't zoom out. Now, are those transfers on the shoulder pads, or are you freehanding that? Because that's really good stuff. Lightning, I like. Looks good. Kind of like the color blend here on the chain sword. Very cool. No, I think you're freehanding those Night Lord symbols. It's really good stuff. I like it. Really nice. Predator. I like the non-metallic metal you got going on there in the lettering. Very cool. Do you think you're maybe being a little too subtle with the lightning? Do you think maybe we could get some more lightning going on? Or like bigger arcs, like traveling across surfaces? Or you could just leave it as is. I like the old school feeling of the barrel, the end of the barrel's done like that. I like that. Very nice. Very cool. Like the wings. I like the wings on there. That's very cool. I think the lightning here, I think it branches off too much because it feels like a tree here. I think you're going to have like another stalk or something coming that way and another stalk, if you want to have more like that. Oh, was it? Sabo says transfer skulls with painted wings. Ah, okay, very cool. Very, very cool. I like. I like the monkey griminess. Very cool. Flaming skull. And you weren't happy with the flaming skull? It looks pretty good. I think more of it could start it over here, and then you had like the flames kind of wisping out over to this side. You know what I mean? Instead of feeling more like, spaghetti have, bigger ends and then tapering off to small ends. And also just the way it kind of flows. But I don't think there's anything wrong here. I mean, maybe just a little bit more brighter, brighter color to distinguish around, say, like the eyebrows, a bit of the nose, maybe at the cheekbones, bottom of the chin, things like that. Oh, man. I like it, man. I like it. I like it on the dozer blade, too. That's cool. He almost feels left out. What's his deal? He's just got lightning. And some sort of weird shape in the center here. I don't know what's going on there. Oh. Is it their planet? Is that what that is? It's their planet? It's a planet. Very cool. A little bit subtle, but very cool. Ooh, look at the skin. Is that not? That's not real skin, is it? That looks like real skin. Very cool. I have nothing really much to add other than just really good work. It just I really like your freehanding of the wings. That's really nice. The lightning, again, I mean, you like it, small like that. I'm just used to Games Workshop's idea of lightning is like these big bolts running across the hull. But this still works too. I mean, don't get me wrong. This still works too. Very cool. He's pointing like, don't look at me when I take his face off. Don't look at me. Oh, was that it? That was it. Well, thank you, Sawa. Sending that in. Really good stuff. What was your question? Your first part of your question? Did a bit of crazy freehanding on the rhinos. Came a bit well. Flame skull. Any suggestion how you go about something like this? Like the flame skull? Or the freehanding? Because the freehanding, it looks like you got it down pretty darn good. The flame skull, I would have had more brighter colors up by the skull, but having that yellow and orange just play around, just to kind of fill in like the skull shape, and then had it tapering back, more oranges and yellows going back, and then just at the very ends, just maybe a hint of red, and that's it. Of course, you can have more red in it if you wanted, just so that it really kind of shows up on the tank, but otherwise, yeah. Yeah, that's the homeworld. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, David Taylor, was that real skin or was it like a piece of ripped off something? Yeah, because I don't know. Oh, I asked the skull and the bleeding scratch on the armor. Scratch on the armor. Which one was the scratch on the armor, Saba? Was that the Land Raider? Was this the Land Raider? Scratch in the armor. Because like this thing here, this little bit of flesh on the front of the hood is freaking me out. But which one was a scratch in the armor? Or you were just talking in general, a scratch in the armor? So you were talking in general, just a scratch in the armor. Well, then it's relatively straightforward. Oh, there was none. Okay. So doing a scratch in the armor, like say for example, you've probably seen me do a few videos on doing like the battle damage and stuff on the Space Marines, using about 3 colors. You use one of the deeper tones that is your base. That's the base color. So for example, is blue. Then you go with a darker blue. Then you go with black, which is your shadow color, and a really light blue, which will be your highlight color. And to create the scratch, you just take that darker base tone color, create a line at the bottom end of that shape with a brighter color. You create that highlight, and then inside the shape with a darker color or black, you create that shadow, and that gives the eye the illusion that that's a scratch or a dent in the armor. Oh, you weren't clear. Why? What? You didn't want to scratch in your armor? I don't know. But anyway, I'll continue to explain. And so from that point on, then you can just kind of come in and then just, paint, the blood kind of running down if you want, or, kind of like it's spilling out or something like that. Otherwise, you're better off kind of just really like modeling the big scratch in the armor and taking some, the blood or whatever that we use, and just kind of creating that on the model and just kind of having, the goo and stuff. Yeah, just like Ben said, carve out the model and use a tiny drop of thin red and let it drip down a bit. Yeah, or even blood for the blood god, the technical. That works great. Papa Nurgle, oh no, I slept in. Miss Kris' silky voice. Silky. No, that's not right. There we go. So, Sama, I don't know if he was going on after I wasn't clear, but he hasn't said nothing. So, yeah. So, hopefully, that helps, Sama. Your freehanding really good. The flaming skull, yeah, I'd had a little bit brighter color at the face of it. So it was more white, with like oranges and yellows, just kind of providing those shadow lines and stuff like that. Almost black in the eye sockets, and keep the color, trying to go through a full blend the whole way back, rather than feeling kind of noodly, how it kind of looked. So, yeah. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. And what time we at? Oh, my gosh. It's 13 minutes, too. We have time for another email. Let's do another email. This is from Jim White. Dear Kris, I hope this email finds you and yours well. I have a suggestion for a reward for being free from the effects of smoking for 1 year. Namely painting airplane models to make a diorama simulating the Battle of Britain. Further, if I may be so bold, I suggest buying the models one at a time, or in other words, buy them slowly and purposefully. Finally, I have include a few pictures of my last model. I completed painting a 40k demon host to show where my painting ability is at this day, Friday, April 1st, 2016. And no, this is not meant to be an April Fool's joke. Please give me thoughts and feedback. Yours sincerely, Jim White. Had to hold on until I had to click that little button. And so let's have a look at Jim's painting. Ben Ossick at Kris. I forget, did I ever send you an email of my Flayed 1 conversions? I don't know, Ben. Did you? Did you have them kind of a green metal color? If you did, then I think you might have. If you didn't, send them again. And so this is Jim's Demon Host. Very cool. Looks nice and neat. Kind of hard to tell what details are what on these models because they're so crazy looking and they got all the little funny details all over them. It's kind of like the Fly. Remember at the end of the Fly and all the parts are like coming together and he's like, the Jeff Goldblum Fly, not the original 50s Fly. Demon Host. See, he's up there. He's looking up and he's screaming. Why would you even bother putting goggles on him? He's already screaming in agony. He's got some sort of severe growth coming out of his shoulder, like, my God, man. But very, very cool. I like it. I think helping the viewer, I think the buckles could be a deeper shade of brown, so that they don't blend in with the skin tones too much. See how, like, even in the picture here? Now, maybe to the eye they don't, but on the camera here, these values look very, very close. The skin and the straps. So, just something to consider. I'm not saying go and change it right now or anything. But is that it? Is that all? A couple pictures of his demon host. All right, that was it. Where am I? Here we go. So where am I? Nicholas Allen. Oh God, The Fly. Definitely don't watch that movie on a weak stomach. No, the second Fly movie. Man, that was like the first time I had ever seen something as graphic in that one. Was The Fly 2. When it's at the end of the movie, and spoiler alert for anybody, he becomes a fly, and he's in the elevator, and the guy's on the bottom of the elevator, and he's trying to get out like of the little pit of the elevator, and he's like and his head is like between the elevator and the floor, and it crushes down on his head, and you can just see like his head just explode, and it just like blood and brain just goes flying everywhere. That was the first time I ever seen that kind of effect on a movie, and like I was like, "Oh my God, what did I just watch?" Oh my God, it's like that guy's head just came apart, and yeah, that was the first time I ever watched The Fly 2. Yeah, I was like, "Oh my God," it completely freaked me right out. Was that scene? Was the whole head squishing, because like it showed like his head, he's like and his head just going up, and yeah. After that, I mean, I was completely desensitized. By the time I was watching Saving Private Ryan and guys getting their heads blown off and stuff like that, I was like, fine. Okay, here's the name. Rususbv Sandbags? I'm just going to say Sandbags. Screw it. Arsus. No. It almost sounds like Russian or something. Anyway, Sandbags. Hey, Kris. I wanted to make a cactus for my cracked earth terrain. What would be the best way to make it from scratch? Kids craft foam? Make cactus? The old school way of doing like cactus-like plants was the little foam balls. And then taking like toothpicks and plunging them in and then getting like this cactus-like shape, right? But if you want to go for something that looks a little bit more realistic and maybe like more the taller, yeah, you can probably go with like the foam. Yeah, the foam, but then simulating that prickly feeling. The prickly feeling. What if you took? Do I have any here? No, I don't. What if you took? Okay. You made the cactus out of foam. You colored it green, and then what if you took the snow flock from GW? You know how it's the flock, but it's like the hairs, it's the fibers, and then just very carefully put little bundles of that in, so you have those white hairs sticking out. It's not cactus, it's not sharp, but it would give you that kind of sensation that's that's the cactus, right? For scale wise, I mean, we're talking what, 2 inches big, maybe 3 inches, and I think doing the little tiny little tufts of like snow. The GW one is the GW snow is just like the grass flock, except it's white. Of course, if you're going with like traditional like greens, right? Like if you're going with the atypical kind of cactus, it's green and it's kind of got like the 3 little shapes to it, and it's got like the trunk and it's got like the branch and stuff. Yeah, if you do that, Sandbags, if you do that, you guys send me pictures and let me see how it turned out, because it sounds kind of interesting. But if you're making like some sort of weird alien cactus, yeah, the old way was taking foam balls with toothpicks and just jabbing them in and making like the spikes and painting green, and the spikes were red, and but you can make whatever color you want, right? But yeah, that was like the old school way of doing cacti. Lazy Monkey scaled train stuff might be a good route to find some cacti of various sorts. Yeah, shop around, maybe you'll find some, or even like the plastic army men. I know they used to sell like the Western sets, and they would come with cacti. Stuff like that. Woodland Scenic, yeah, as Lord Law says, Woodland Scenic has pre-made cacti. Interesting. Put the link in the description or in the comments. I didn't know that they made I know they had like flowers and stuff like that, and they look like little beds of flowers. And I was like, wow, that was so cool. I wish we could make a board that was really really pretty, like a garden almost, but it's like a battlefield. But then it's like, but it's a garden, it's a battlefield. I mean, it doesn't make any freaking sense, right? Unless of course it was like say an Eldar Arboretum or something like that, and the battles, because like the first Eldar novel, Path of the Warrior. Is that the first one? Anyway, yeah, Path of the Warrior is the first one, right? Is it? And if you've not read that book, it's actually pretty darn good. It gives you some insight into like Eldar kind of thinking and their craft world and stuff. And the arboretum that they're fighting in, it's big enough, it's forested and everything like that, but it's big enough that Phantom Titans can walk around inside these gardens and and basically destroy people. Which is very cool. I like that whole idea. These big domed kind of gardens and stuff like that. YouTube doesn't let you post links in the chat. Well, I thought we did that before. I thought we've had like links in there. Well then. I keep grabbing the wrong mouse. Time we at 4 minutes 2. 4 minutes 2 and counting. Let's see if this is a short email, which it is not. Yeah. We got time for an email? We got time for an email, I guess, right? Lord Law. I saw them in the store. One of the diorama scenes that Woodland Scenics makes. Yeah. Okay, let's do one more email. This is from Gav Wright. Long-time lurker here, and I was wondering if you give some advice and tips on how to paint high elves in mostly a white and silver scheme like in the artwork here. And I think we've all seen that kind of color scheme stuff before. I just don't really want to show the pictures because then I don't want friggin' YouTube give me any hassle about it. So, anywho, the problem at the moment is how to make them pop and not look like Ghost Army and simply bland and unfinished. I understand it might be difficult to achieve a pure white elfy kind of look, but also interesting visually on the table. But I figured if anyone would know a way, it would be you. And going off topic for a sec, kawaii metal. Kawaii? I'm going to say that right? Kawaii? I like metal as well, but I like it more when it gets blended with something else. Previously stuff like metal and classical or metal and folk, but now metal and J-pop, I don't know what J-pop is a fantastic fusion and one that wouldn't work anywhere near as well as Western pop. Have a listen to Karate, their new song. Or Meg's tune. I don't know. Or Give Me Chocolate, perhaps. Also, a slight mistake on my part. Ladybeard is the frontman of Lady BB, which was the other band Mighty Nob suggested you look up. They are a lot of fun. I saw them live, and the guy is insane. He used to be an Australian pro wrestler under the same name, but somehow fell into Japanese kawaii metal. Enjoy. And he sent the link in too. So, getting that white. Okay, yeah, I did check out the Lady Baby, and yeah, it was just like baby metal, which was pretty kind of, it's out there for me. It's not the kind of thing I can relax to, tune in, just blank out, or even get to work on, because I'm too kind of. It's because it's got that poppy feeling to it, right? So you kind of bobbing your head to it, and you're kind of snapping your fingers, and kind of getting into it. Right, baby metal.
Baby metal.
Yeah, baby metal. You've heard of baby metal, the Japanese one, the metal.
God, no.
No. What about what was it? I'm talking to Lee, by the way, people.
Hey, people.
Lady Baby. The lead singer he's dressed like a Japanese schoolgirl, but full on beard.
Why?
Why? You ask why?
Why?
I don't know why. Oh man, I don't know. So, anyway, back to the question. Making the high elves pop. You start off with mid-tone grays, administratum gray, or even ultramarine gray, and then edge highlight in white. You don't necessarily need to use any kind of shade washes, but if you are compelled to use a shade wash, thin it down with Lemaine medium first and just very deliberately apply it into cracks and recesses just to help create some separation on some points, like from the scales of the metal or, the feathers or anything like that, right? But otherwise, start off with administratum gray or ultramarine gray. If you want to go for the cooler kind of white. If you want to go with a warmer kind of white, then start off with, say, Ushabti Bone or Screaming Skull, and that'll give you a warmer kind of white feeling. One feels more like bone, the other one will feel more like, ice or anything like that. So it's really up to you as to which way you go, but definitely your base colors should be that really, really light kind of tone like that. And then just edge highlight in white, and you should get to the level of white that you see in that artwork, that, kind of just really dominantly white. Again, don't overdo the shade washes. Don't apply that and then go, okay, I need a shade wash, and then just shellac, the null oil on it, because you're just going to completely bring everything down, and then you're going to be pulling your hair out, just try and raise the brightness back up again, and that's not the way to go about it. The best way is to thin the null oil. If you have to use a shade wash, thin it down with Lemaine medium, and then deliberately apply it into like recesses and just create the separation. If you want like a bit more shadow in like a sleeve or something like that, you just apply it in there. Or, if you want to create like a line around the wrist, things like that, right? So, yeah. So hopefully, who sent me that question? That was Gav. So hopefully, Gav, that answers your question. Again, painting white. There are many various ways of painting white. Of course, I have a few tutorials in the vault on how to do it, if you're not already a vault member. But yeah, so where are we in these comments here? Ishab, Kris, guy dressed like a girl with full bear. Maybe he just wants options when he's out and needs to use the bathroom really quick. Sometimes it's hard to find the men's room. Sure, that's one possibility. Cross-dressing. I think what?
That doesn't make sense.
To be dressed like a schoolgirl by itself.
And there's two bathrooms. There's always a line at the ladies' room.
Yeah, there's always a line in the ladies' room. That's right. So if you have a beard, you can always say, "I'm going to the men's room."
But he's a guy.
He is a guy, so you go. Yeah, exactly. And then now, I guess with the whole transgender thing, they're gonna have more options, and it's all about the options. Really, it's what it comes down to these days. Is
You're gonna have to add a box to like when you're doing like a form.
Yeah, like
male, female, other.
Like what happened to the outhouse? There was no two outhouses. There wasn't a his and hers outhouse. It was just one outhouse. Everybody shat in the same place. So maybe that's where we need to go back to. Outhouses.
Hole in the ground.
Hole in the ground.
Build a box over it. Get a plank with a hole. Done.
Done. Yeah. Done. Hole in the ground. Pooper in the hole in the ground. And on that note, send your questions, comments, emails. You want some help working on a color scheme, or maybe you just want to show off your work. Send it to Kris@miniwargaming.com. Join me on Facebook, Way the Brush. Just have a look. It's all in the description below. Way the Brush t-shirts. Help Kris out. And, of course, make you look manly. As Lord of Midgets was asking about earlier about women, I forgot to mention, that was the obvious selling point, was Way the Brush t-shirts. I mean, nothing makes you look more manly than a Way the Brush t-shirt. Yeah. So take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you. And I will see you guys. I don't think I'll see you guys next week. I'll leave a note if I'm not, but I think I will be. So yeah. Oh, that was like one of the worst outros ever. See you guys later. I've got nothing.